The Red Sea is once again at the center of a major Middle East escalation. Yemen's Houthi-led armed forces have announced what they call a complete and total ban on Israeli maritime navigation in the Red Sea, declaring that any Israeli movement in the waterway will now be considered a legitimate military target. The announcement comes amid rising tensions involving Israel, Iran, Lebanon, and other members of the so-called Axis of Resistance.
We declare a complete and total ban on Israeli maritime navigation in the Red Sea, and we consider all enemy movements to be legitimate military targets for our armed forces from the moment this statement is issued.
The declaration followed a missile attack claimed by the Houthis against what they described as sensitive Israeli targets in the Jaffa region, part of the Tel Aviv metropolitan area. The group presented the strike as part of a broader response to developments across the region, particularly in Lebanon, Iran, and Gaza. The Houthi escalation came shortly after a strongly worded warning from Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya central headquarters. Iranian military spokesman Ebrahim Zolfagari accused Israel of repeatedly violating the ceasefire in Lebanon and expanding attacks on Beirut's southern suburbs, known as Dahiyeh.
Despite previous warnings by the Army of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the child-killing Zionist regime has crossed all red lines and, by escalating its attacks in southern Lebanon, has targeted the southern suburbs of Beirut. We had previously warned that if the crimes in the southern suburbs of Beirut expanded, we would attack targets in the occupied territories.
Iran's statement went further than a warning. Tehran directly linked future Israeli military actions in Lebanon to potential retaliation and signaled that any Israeli response to Iranian actions could trigger a broader confrontation.
The Zionist army must stop its attacks on southern Lebanon and Dahiyeh. If it expands its attacks on that region or responds to Iran's action, it will face more crushing and regret-inducing blows, and devastating attacks against the regime and its supporters will begin.
What makes these developments particularly significant is the apparent coordination in messaging from Tehran and Sanaa. While Iran warned of devastating consequences for Israel and its supporters, the Houthis invoked the principle of the unity of fronts, linking Iran, Lebanon, Palestine, Iraq, and Yemen into a single battlefield.
We will not stand idly by in the face of the unjust siege imposed on our people and on the peoples of the axis of jihad and resistance in Palestine, Gaza, Iran, Lebanon, and Iraq. All attempts by the enemy will fail, God willing. Our operations will continue as long as the aggression and siege against us and against the axis of jihad and resistance continue.
Beyond the missile strikes, the biggest concern may be the threat to maritime trade. The Red Sea remains one of the world's most critical shipping corridors. With Iran threatening further retaliation and the Houthis pledging continued operations, the latest statements suggest the conflict could increasingly spill across multiple fronts in the Middle East.